Very special guest today. The voice, the official voice of the... You're the voice of the WWE now, right?
That's what I call myself.
Michael Cole.
Exactly.
Is here.
That's self-professed. By the way, I'm so glad I'm here.
Yeah.
We've been wanting to do this for a long time.
Yeah, but you live out in Texas.
Yes.
But now, so WrestleMania is on Sunday.
Yes.
You're here now.
Yep.
Are you here for the interim?
Yeah, for the entire week. I'll be here through next, Raw's actually in Jersey as well on Monday.
So you're here.
Then we head to Boston, so I'm here for the duration. Full week.
So do you like it? Because I would imagine that traveling, everybody says the craziest part of the whole gig.
It's 52 weeks a year.
Yeah.
We don't have an off season.
But technically, is this like, even though you're away from home, since you're not traveling, you're in one spot for a week?
It's worse.
It is.
Because I have to put up with my wife and listen to her complain
she stays
12 days that I'm not home, helping out with the dogs and everything else.
Yeah, but that's easier than like I have to complain. I have to deal with my wife complaining about me not doing anything, but she's right there face to face. Like, right. I'm sitting on the couch and she's like, "Why aren't you doing anything?"
I'd rather be face to face because it's worse on the phone. There's nothing like middle of the night and making the phone call to say goodnight, and all of a sudden, hey, the hot water heater doesn't work. How do I turn the pilot light on?
Yeah.
And then I have to try to explain that, although she knows.
Yeah.
She's better about that house stuff than I am. And
because she's home, she actually lives in the house.
So she lives in the house. So that's the worst part about the 12 days is not being there and not being a part of all the stuff at home. But it's fun. I mean, this is going to be a really fun week. I can't wait.
Is your wife just fed up with it? She's like, I don't want to see more wrestling shows.
She doesn't watch.
Yeah.
Number one.
Yeah.
Although she did watch. The only time she's ever watched me on television was WrestleMania 2 years ago when I actually had a match.
When you performed, you had a match.
Yes, I had a match, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
It's been voted a lot of worst WrestleMania matches in history, Sam. Yeah. You saw it.
Of course I saw it. It was long.
Long.
It went the distance.
I had never watched. It was me versus Jerry the King Lawler, WrestleMania 27 in Atlanta, and Jerry Lawler, who's a legend in this business, had never ever had a WrestleMania match ever.
Yeah.
So he's all excited because he finds out he's going to have his first WrestleMania match, and then he finds out it's going to be against me.
And he's sitting there like, this is a huge thing, my first WrestleMania match. And you're like, yeah, mine too, buddy. Exactly. I'm the announcer.
Exactly. So we do this whole angle leading up to the thing, which was a lot of fun. The problem is that no one knew that I had this orange singlet made for this match.
See, I looked at you walking on the orange singlet, and you go, because it's like Michael Cole. He's not, he's in the shape. He's in good shape for an announcer.
Good shape.
I mean, I'm trying to be polite. He looked like he had a spare tire tucked into his singlet, but I figured that they might, and it was bright orange.
Hey, let me interrupt you for 1 second.
Yeah.
What's the Sirius what?
Sirius 206, right? XM 105.
Okay, I'm tweeting out to everyone that I'm on your show right now. So
we're the only channel left.
Exactly.
That has two different numbers that they wouldn't just consolidate.
So anyway,
although with you tweeting that out, that'll probably just get hate for me because you are the only person who I would think gets more Twitter hate than I do.
It's horrible. But it's actually better now. It's about 90% hate mail now. It was 100% before. And then, of course, Jerry went on and had a heart attack live on television and turned me into a babyface overnight.
Right. You saved Jerry Lawler's life by sitting next to him.
Well, I gave him a heart attack in our match at WrestleMania. That was the start of it. And then
so you walk out, and it looks like you're in this bright orange singlet. And it looks like...
let's not forget, I had the Team Cole sweatshirt.
Of course.
So I didn't reveal the singlet until I actually got in the ring.
Although you weren't wearing workout pants with it. You were just wearing your little orange shorts with your big hoodie.
Right, and my black knee pads in front of 70,000 people at Georgia Dome. And I was scared to death.
You were.
I'd never been in a match before.
Yeah.
They sent me down a month early and said, hey, go to Tampa to our training school and learn how to take bumps. So they're throwing me around the ring. I couldn't move for two weeks.
A month early.
Oh, yeah, a month for a WrestleMania match.
You're like, all right, what is it, March? Oh, I guess it's in April. Yeah, you can go down.
Exactly.
So, but I assumed watching you show up in front of 70,000 people in a bright orange singlet, not in great shape, that somebody had handed you that singlet and was like, oh, this is going to be hilarious.
I thought I was in great shape. I thought I was, I thought I was Arnold.
Well,
I really did.
I figured because, when they do stuff like that, especially in WWE, all you guys, or I thought, and I wouldn't say you guys, but a bunch of guys who aren't wrestlers work out like they're wrestlers. So like when Vince McMahon had his first match, he takes off his, dumb three-piece suit and he looks like a bodybuilder. So I'm sitting there going, oh, I bet, Cole is one of these workout guys. You're not.
No, what
Michael,
happened was that I go to...
and you have terrible tattoos.
Thank you. There's a story behind that, which I'll tell you in a second. But there's I'm one of these guys who thinks they know how to work out. I've been going to the gym for 15 years.
Really?
I haven't lost a pound.
Yeah,
I do 45 minutes of cardio a day. I think it has something to do with the beer and the whiskey that I drink on a regular basis. But no, seriously. So I think I'm in decent shape.
Yeah.
So then a couple of days before WrestleMania, Hunter looks at me and goes, "Hey, Michael, you've been hitting the gym?" I said, "Oh yeah, I've been going every day."
And you think Triple H is like complimenting you here?
And he goes, "It really doesn't look it." So now when I realize he's not complimenting me, I said, "Well, I'm playing the character. I'm an announcer. I'm not supposed to be an athlete. I'm supposed to look fat in the ring. That's the gimmick, right?" Meanwhile, I'm so embarrassed because I've been working out for months to get ready for this match.
And you have the audacity to say, Triple H, I could be in wrestler shape if I wanted to, but I don't want to make Jerry the King Lawler look bad.
Oh, exactly. I didn't want to look better than the King.
I don't want to make Triple H. I don't want to make you guys look bad out there.
It was his moment, Please.
I assumed that the singlet you were wearing was an exercise in humiliation. That was your choice.
It was my choice.
You had that made and everything.
I wanted to do something that was. That was interesting for WrestleMania, and it was orange. A lot of people thought it was orange to pay homage to my ex-partner Taz. It was actually orange because I went to Syracuse.
That's what I thought, because I went to Syracuse.
The orange,
so
exactly,
like,
the Orange Mafia.
Yeah.
But how about those orange Final Four?
I know.
Again?
It's the only, because I don't know anything about basketball, but I fill out the brackets based on. But because you look like a real athlete. Because I fill out the brackets.
Hey, how many matches have you won?
I guess none. You've got one over me. I fill out the brackets based on, like, my final two were Syracuse because I went there.
Okay.
And Iona because I went to high school right next to Iona.
Oh my Lord!
And I couldn't believe they were in the tournament, so I had them beating everybody. So of course Iona loses in the first round, which cuts off that whole wing of the brackets. But then Syracuse actually made it to the Final Four, so I'm looking okay.
You should have, back to the singlet for a second.
Please.
I actually had it made. So we have seamstresses that travel with us, and I actually went to the seamstress and I said, "Listen, can you make the singlet for me?" And they looked at me like I had two heads, but nonetheless they did. And they took the measurements and stuff. And so I was actually in the bathroom of the locker room, actually sitting on the can, and one of the seamstresses wanted me to try the singlet on, and she actually thought I was in changing and I was dressed, and she walked in while I was sitting bare naked on the can, and she saw a lot of things and handed me the singlet to try on, which I did, and I walked out. I'll never forget. I walked out of the bathroom in the singlet a week before WrestleMania, and there were three people sitting in the room: John Cena, The Undertaker, and one of our talent relations guys. So the first two of the first three people that actually saw me in the singlet were two legends in our business, and
the top two guys.
And Undertaker looked at me and said, "What has this business come to?" And he walked out disgusted.
He left. That's why we haven't seen him since last WrestleMania.
And there was a joke too, because a lot of the guys had fun with how it fit me around the groin area.
Right. The sort of.
Yeah, that was a little embarrassing.
Pelvic room. What kind of underwear do you wear with a? Did you have to wear a jock strap?
Just a jock strap.
That
was it. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you put any padding into it or anything?
It was funny too, because at WrestleMania there's some shots where you can actually see the straps of the jock strap outlined. It was very unflattering.
It's very amateur hour.
Yeah, I didn't remember much because after about the first 2 minutes of that match, I thought I was knocked out by Jerry, and I was so completely out of breath. I don't remember. I never watched the match. Ever watched the match until about 2 or 3 months ago. We were at a party and somebody wanted to put it on as a joke, and I watched it, and I could not believe that it was 35 minutes long.
It outraged wrestling fans.
I said, you wasted 35 minutes. Daniel Bryan had an 18-second match at WrestleMania. I had a 35-minute match.
And that's what they put you. So how does somebody like you, it's obviously not your decision how long your match goes. But they're doing a match with Jerry the King Lawler and an announcer, Michael Cole. And honestly, at this point, Jerry the King Lawler is basically an announcer himself.
Yes.
He's a wrestler, but he's an announcer.
Right.
So they've got the two announcers, and they're giving them 35 minutes at the biggest pay-per-view. Are people backstage? Are wrestlers mad at you?
People hated me.
Yeah.
I mean, literally there was like a backlash in the locker room.
Because you're taking their spot.
Has got 35 minutes on WrestleMania. Now, we tried to justify it by saying, hey, Stone Cold Steve Austin's a special guest referee. This is a big attraction.
Yeah.
Jack Swagger's at ringside.
Yeah.
We have the coal mine at ringside, the plastic box that I used to broadcast from because I was a bad guy. It was just not a good scene. But
yeah, and then while they're sitting there pissed at you for taking their spot, you're like, you guys got to see the singlet that I had made. Is this a hoot or what?
The worst part about it was I had like a 5-minute promo walking to the ring talking about this and that. And I was like, oh my, I was boring myself walking out there. But I mean, seriously though, it was so much fun. It was a blast. Honor.
Yet, to me, that was the most impressive part, that you walked out in front of, like you said, 70,000 people. And you're just on mic, and you're talking the whole time.
That's the one thing. It's like what you do. I mean, you can talk nonstop because you do it for a living. That's what I do for a living. So that was the most comfortable part of the entire evening for me, was being able to talk.
So when you're out, so they're not giving you a script?
No, not.
Because at this point, you know what you're doing.
Bullet points. You get bullet points of what they want you to hit. But that was basically my baby. They basically said, you've been talking about this match for 3 months. Go out there, hit a home run, and let's do it.
Was that your favorite thing that you've ever done, gotten to be a bad guy?
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I cursed the fact that Jerry Lawler had a heart attack because it made me turn into a good guy.
That was That was the worst thing about the heart attack.
Story.
Yeah. By the way, 866-WOW-1-WOW. We can go to phones too.
Jerry, obviously, what we were talking about was back in September. Jerry actually had a heart attack on the air.
Right.
On Monday Night Raw. We were in Montreal, Canada. We were calling a match, and Jerry and I don't look at each other when we work. We have monitors at ringside.
It's gotten there, huh?
Right, and exactly.
Can't stand the sight of each other.
I look at my right monitor, Jerry looks at his left monitor, and we were calling a match, and all of a sudden I heard Jerry snoring. Now, I thought that he was just, like, doing that to say that the match was boring.
Right. Is that something?
I used to do it when I was a bad guy, so I just figured maybe he was doing it.
Yeah.
So I turned around to look at him, and, he was snoring, and then I said, this isn't right, and his head was on the table. The next thing I knew, he went into cardiac arrest. So, thank God for the doctors and the EMTs, and Jerry, made it. And
that had to be the scariest thing you've ever seen.
Oh my God! And I worked at CBS News before I worked in this business. We always talk about. I always say on the air, especially when I was a bad guy, that I'm a former war correspondent and a broadcast journalist. But that's true. I've covered wars.
Which wars did you cover?
I was in Bosnia. I did 3 tours in Bosnia, Sarajevo, and I was involved in in Kuwait in the first Persian Gulf War. Did a number of different things. So I'd been involved in all kinds of different things from the news business, but this is actually something that really affected me because it was one of my real good friends who I'd been working with for 15 years.
And he's right next to you.
Exactly. And I just
plus, I would think, when you go to cover war, you're expecting like some crazy shit could happen.
Yeah, and you're not personally invested, and you don't know anybody that's involved. You're not personally invested in the story. Yeah,
like when you're Michael Cole and you're just sitting at ringside calling Raw.
Right.
You kind of would like to think that you have some idea of what's going to happen.
And then you have to explain to the world that this isn't part of the show. This is real life. And
you're a bad guy at that time.
Right. I was. And
so, theoretically, you're like, I hope he has a heart attack.
I had to break character.
Yeah.
And then the news background came in. Long story short, Jerry made it, thank God. And he's better today, in better shape today than he's ever been in his entire life.
But he said he died for a second, right?
That's what he claims.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean,
you're not a doctor, but
exactly, whether you believe that or you don't. I mean, whatever he saw, he said he didn't see any light. He said it was completely pitch black till he woke up.
Yeah.
So we know where he's going when it's all over. But
he's lived a good life, though, hasn't he?
Exactly. So on Wednesday, I remember this happened on Monday. On Wednesday, Jerry, his girlfriend had called me from the hospital in Montreal and said, listen, somebody wants to talk to you. And Jerry's on the phone. Holy shit, Jerry Lawler, you had a heart attack 2 days ago. And
this was and when they were reporting this heart attack, it was like, we don't know what's going to happen. This was a bad one.
I was told by my producers, probably about a half hour after it happened, that, listen, Michael, you've got to really make sure that you're prepared to deliver the worst.
Wow.
So now all this stuff's going on. I'm trying to get all situated in my head how I'm going to...
So in your head, you're thinking how you deliver this.
Exactly.
Thing.
That's exactly what I was thinking. And then going off the air, it was almost like it was... I hate to say this, it was almost like it was scripted, because going off the air, we got the news in at the last moment that Jerry was hanging in there, and the news looked better. So that Wednesday, he actually calls me, and he says, hey, Michael, it's Jerry. And I'm like, Hey, King, I can't believe you're here. You're alive. And we talked for a few seconds, and I just said, I just want to tell you something. Thanks for ruining my heel run.
Yeah, that was it.
That was babyface again.
That was the whole thing, and that's where the money is, too. You're not making money from WrestleMania matches as hey, look at those guys in the ring.
Being a bad guy is the greatest thing in the world.
It is.
It really is. It is so much fun. It's
and that's
easy.
That's a little more naturally you, isn't it?
Of course it is.
Well,
you know me well. You know me off the air.
Yeah,
exactly.
Evil Michael Cole comes out. That's after some of those whiskeys, though. Here is the question that I was wondering. A few weeks ago, after all this, you see, you watch this guy have this heart attack. He falls down. They bring him back. He comes back. It's a miraculous thing. So what's he doing eating tater tots on TV?
You know how many tweets I got about that?
I would imagine.
We were doing a promotional bit for Sonic, who's a great sponsor of WWE, and they have been for years. And Jerry was eating one of their new items, and my Twitter blew up that night. Hey, Cole, the guy's had a heart attack and see you once, and now he's eating fried food.
And Lawler is sitting there stuffing his face with tater tots. He had 5 of them in his mouth at once. I go, this was months ago, not years ago.
No, but according to Jerry, the doctors say he can eat and do whatever he wants. That he's in better shape and health now than he was before the heart attack. You know the thing about Jerry? Jerry has never smoked.
No.
He's never drank. And
but he does cage matches at 60 and eats tater tots.
Exactly. And he wants to wrestle again.
He does.
He does. He loves it.
Would Vince put him in the ring again?
I don't have any idea. I don't have any idea. You're not going to get me to go there either because I don't have any idea what they're thinking.
Well, I will say, because in my mind, the human in me would say, no, I would never put Jerry Lawler in the ring again. But I think Vince would, goddamn, yeah, we'll put him back in the ring.
He's a promoter.
Yeah.
So who knows?
As long as you can get Jerry Lawler on TV before he goes in there to say, I want to do this.
Right.
My hands are clean on this one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Let me go to Brian in Long Island, who's on with Michael Cole. What's up, Brian?
Sam, what's up, Michael?
Hey, Brian.
Listen, there's a famous thing on YouTube called WWE Off the Air, where you and Jerry just absolutely destroy the ring announcer.
Which ring announcer was it?
I bet it was Tony Chimmel.
Well, I don't know his name, but I mean, you guys are just brutal. Has he ever confronted you about that?
No, I think it was Tony Chimmel, and I think it had to do with a SmackDown taping a number of years ago where Tony could not figure out that the name of the match was a turkey bowl match and that it was for the women's, not woman's, championship.
The woman,
and I swear,
that woman's championship.
And I swear to God, Chimmel about 10 or 11 times had to do these lines, wild lines we call them, to try to get it right. And Jerry and I lambasted him like there was no tomorrow. I'll never forget that night. Tony Chimmel's a great guy. Been with the company for like 30 years. I still have no idea how he's been here that long.
But somebody else sent me a YouTube clip because that's so funny that he was talking about that because somebody else was like, when we were tweeting last night that that you were going to come on the show today, somebody was like, oh, you got to ask Cole about when he was fucking with Tony Chimmel. And so I clicked his YouTube video and it was a totally different one. It was like he described a ladder match, but he said, oh, first person to get custody of the belt. But it's on pay-per-view, and you just start openly laughing, like, custody? What is he talking about?
Chimmel's been doing this for how long? I can't say anything, though, because it's difficult. I butcher things every week
well, you can.
Live television.
Don't say I can't say anything, because you say things, and then you go back and be, yeah, but it's all good. But you've already said the things.
I know, exactly. It's live TV. Well, welcome aboard. I mean, it's funny.
You have what they call in wrestling buried a lot of people, though. You go out there, even now as a good guy, I've heard you, like weeks ago, you're still, if you don't think a segment is going well, or whoever doesn't think a segment is going well, your voice will be there. Like, Jericho was doing a segment a few weeks ago.
Oh, God, please.
And you
start
saying, cut to commercial, cut to commercial, this is horrible.
I got in so much trouble.
You literally, because they're doing this, like, interview segment on Raw, and Michael Cole is sitting there at ringside, and he is saying, he's openly laughing while these guys are talking, not wrestling. And then you start requesting that the show cut to commercial.
Yes, because it was a very bad segment. But what I felt bad about is the fact that I disrespected Chris, who obviously has been in this business longer than I have, and he's he's one of the legendary greats of all time. And more importantly than all that, Chris is a friend of mine.
Right.
And so I actually...
And he's going to be in here on Thursday, so whatever you say today...
Actually, believe it or not, I felt bad. And
You did?
yeah, I felt bad for a number of reasons. A, because I did that. I didn't feel bad at the time. I felt bad afterward. But because I didn't go to Chris and explain to him what happened.
Yeah.
So he had to hear it like through the grapevine the next day. So he wasn't happy with me.
Oh, so yeah, because he can't hear what
Exactly.
you're just...
So it's like we ironed things out. Chris and I did. But he's a great guy. But you know,
That's funny. But you've been in the company for longer than most of the wrestlers now.
16 years.
Jesus Christ.
Yes.
That makes me think I've been watching way too long, because I remember like when you were the new backstage dude.
16 years.
And I was like, what happened?
Oh, yeah, when I had the goatee and the frosted tips and all that?
Yeah, when you were like the young guy who was taking like Sean Mooney and Todd
Like your
Pettingill's
size
place.
skinny.
Yeah.
I did take Todd Pettingill's. Actually, Todd Pettingill got me my job.
He did?
He helped get me my job.
I got to tell you something. We don't make fun of him for wrestling, but his radio show does not get an easy time here.
I know.
You're aware.
I've actually, my first job out of college.
That's Todd Pettingill, by the way, from Scott and Todd. He worked for WWE a while back.
My first job out of college was with Todd in Albany, New York.
Really?
At Fly 92. It was the Todd wake-up service or something, and it was Todd, Jim Chandler, and myself. I did the
You
news.
worked with Jim Chandler?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
my God.
Yeah,
E-Rock.
for years,
Are you
for a
hearing
couple of
this?
years.
Yeah.
Jim Chandler. You got to hear this story about Jim Chandler, because Jim Chandler has been a running storyline on the O&A show.
Okay.
We do a thing called Jocktober every October, where we make fun of a different radio. You're aware.
Oh, yeah.
We make fun of radio shows. And I mean, nobody is safe, but I don't know any of these radio shows. I just start Googling, like, you know, top 40 Arkansas.
Right.
And I look for shows, and they're that random.
Right.
So I bring one in, and it's Jim Chandler's show, but I don't know who Jim Chandler is.
Right.
And so I give these guys the tape, and it's like, you know, whoever, it's like Woody and Jim, or whatever the name of the show was. And they're you know,
I actually think you're right. I think it was Woody.
Okay.
I think he was.
They're playing the clips, shitting all over them like they're Tony Chimmel. They're just destroying everything they do. And I start pulling up the website of, like, to show Opie and Anthony and Jim who these guys are.
Right.
And Opie looks at the computer and he goes, "Oh no." And we go, "What?" And he goes, "I got to tap out of this one." But he's like you.
Right.
He's like, I don't want to say anything after he's already said everything.
Exactly.
Because he's like, "Jim." He goes, "Jim Chandler?" And I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "We were in Geneseo together, just trying to make names for ourselves in radio."
It's classic.
The two of us were we were sitting there like in the summer, and we were both trying. And I became this, and now I'm just sitting there making fun of his show without even realizing.
Well, he's
it.
this little short guy with glasses, or at least he was. I mean, I haven't seen him in 20 years, but he was he and Todd were like the hosts, and I was like the funny news guy that delivered the news headlines, and then
Did you have to be a little wacky?
yeah, and then
I am looking for air checks.
You got her, yeah. Because E-Rock in there is like
Fly 92. I would have worked there with Todd in the wake up service from
89, 90.
89 to 91.
he's like how I am with wrestling. He is with radio.
Yep.
So he'll find the
there
air
you go.
checks.
It was 89 to 91. I did all that goofy, stupid minute, update of news, and then I sat there and was the laugh track for the show, much like I do on Raw now when somebody says a joke and I go, ha, 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 that was good. That's what I did then.
Yeah. So that was before Scott Shannon, because we always say Scott Shannon stole Todd
Right.
from Jim and then ruined Jim Chandler's career
He
because Scott and Todd went on to be this big New York show because Todd Pettingill, as much as we bust his balls for what he does it well.
Funny story is in 1996 when I was working for CBS, I actually went back to Albany to cover a breakfast when I was covering Steve Forbes on the presidential campaign. And we were at a little coffee house in Albany, and I'm sitting there and we're covering Forbes doing a speech or whatever the hell he was doing. And all of a sudden this guy comes up behind me and goes, "Sean?" That's my real name. And he goes, "I haven't seen you in years." I turn around, it's Jim Chandler. "What are you doing?" "I'm working for some small station here in Albany." And he goes, and then I never forget, he said, "Well, Todd's in New York and you're at CBS and I'm still here at this little station in Albany."
Oh, no.
E-Rock, did you have a radio question?
Well, I was going to ask, what was the mood when all of a sudden Shannon just kind of took Pettingill? The story is that Todd took the job, and then was going to leave, and then said, "Oh yeah, I'm leaving for New York," and left everybody kind of fucked.
I was actually gone by then. He left. Todd actually.
You
was
left
funny.
while the getting was still good.
It was right around the time Todd was leaving. Todd and I were actually close, and Todd had given me a little bit of an inkling that he may be moving on, and I said, "Okay, time for me to go." And I just happened to get hired in Houston for the CBS affiliate there, and I ended up picking up and moving to Texas, which is why I'm there today. And about 2 or 3 weeks later, Todd called me and said, "Hey, I'm going to New York. If you ever need a job, let me know." So it was that's how that went.
And
down.
then he got you the job at WWE.
Yeah, he was working, doing whatever he was doing on camera work and stuff like that. And he gave me a call and said, "Hey, they're looking for an announcer." My deal was up at CBS at the time. This is back in late '96, early '97, and he had me come in for an audition, and I did it, and the rest is history, as they say.
So you go from, how long was it between you go from being like a news guy who's covering the Bosnian War and like for real stuff to The Rock is putting T-shirts on your head?
Like 2 weeks.
Yeah, that was it. That was the transition.
I had just come off I had just finished the 96 presidential campaign. I was with Dole for the entire campaign, and I had just finished the campaign when this gig came up. So I just came off covering a year-long presidential campaign with Bob Dole from the Republican Party and Steve Forbes before that, and I go to work for WWE, and my first interview was with Savio Vega and Los Barricos in a barn in Des Moines, Iowa.
They're like, "We want you to, you're going to interview this Puerto Rican gang in a barn."
And at which point my wife, this is back when she watched, and she said to me, "What the hell are you doing?"
Yeah. Well, did you want to get out of news? I don't understand the move.
There was too much travel. I was home less than I am now.
There was too much travel, so I joined WWE, which is notorious for a home life.
And in the downtime, I got sick of covering potholes in Manhattan and snowstorms, and so I figured it'd be fun. My deal was, hey, listen, I'm going to get a year or two of television experience because I was working in radio, and then I'll just go back and, get a great TV news job and be on Good Morning America one day, and I never left.
Now you're stuck with JBL and watching George Stephanopoulos on TV.
Exactly.
Let me go to Ryan in the Bronx.
What's up, guys?
What's up, Ryan?
Hi.
Michael, I got to commend you, number one. It's always tough to be the guy after the guy, and listen, I'm almost 40 years old, so I grew up with Gorilla and Jesse, and then JR, of course. But for you to take over after JR is like, everybody gives you shit, but I think you do a real good job, man, and you carry that show a lot of the times. But I just want to throw a name out there, man. I see it in your face sometimes on the show. It's painful to watch. Brad Maddox is horrible on the mic.
I actually like Brad. I think he's got some potential down the road. He's like a lot of our guys today. The business is changing, and it really is. We've got a lot of young guys. We've got a great, minor league facility, we like to call it, down in Florida, called NXT. We've got a lot of young talent down there. You're going to see a shifting of the guard. We have to do it. I mean, you see what's going on at WrestleMania. A lot of these guys aren't going to be around in a week or two. We've got a great show at WrestleMania. Rock Cena and Brock Lesnar and Triple
we should
H
probably mention that before we run out of time. Yeah.
And, we got all these guys that are there, and Punk and Undertaker, of course. And
do you like the Paul Bearer stuff?
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
But again, I'm a heel at heart, so
right. But that's what's supposed to be done. Do you know who Michelle Beadle is?
Yes.
She's, first of all, not a Michael Cole fan.
I know.
She's a wrestling fan.
I know. I follow her Twitter.
She was in here yesterday, and I go, "Yeah, Michael Cole is coming to." Michael Cole, why would you have him on?
I love it. Hey, as long as they know my name, no matter to me.
That's true. I mean, they don't know you're not just an anonymous announcer.
But we got a lot of young kids on the horizon. We're going to have to start going that direction, and it's an exciting time for our company. But WrestleMania, I am so excited. I cannot wait. You're going to be there.
Yes, I'm definitely going to be there.
75,000, MetLife Stadium, Rock Cena, which is pretty cool because we get a lot of mainstream press coverage out of this because Rock, of course, is...
Yeah, but what's up with The Rock going on like The Tonight Show and GMA and just talking about G.I. Joe? Like, why not put the belt on your shoulder and mention WrestleMania once or twice?
And again, I don't know. I'm just assuming that those appearances were booked by G.I. Joe and their press junket, and they might have just said, talk about the movie. Who knows? But he did go on Kimmel and talk about, WWE, and he obviously was on Michael and Kelly talking about it, presenting Michael Strahan with a championship. So I don't know how all that's handled. All I know is that it's great for us. We're going to get a ton of mainstream publicity out of this because you've got one of the biggest movie stars in the world right now, the #1 movie worldwide in G.I. Joe, and he's defending the WWE Championship against the guy who's been here and carried this company for 10 years, and John Cena.
Dude, I was watching last night, John Cena got booed out of the building.
Mm-hmm. Not surprised.
You said he had a mixed. You were like, he's having a mixed reaction. This crowd's
there's a reason that I said that, which I don't need to get into now. But
maybe there was some sound that was blocking your hearing in the arena.
Exactly.
I don't know.
I think I have my earplugs in. But John, listen, Rock's fresh.
Yeah,
he's here and he's not here, and John's here every week, and he's in the trenches every week, and I think that people like fresh.
Do you think they should turn John Cena into a full-fledged heel?
I don't.
You don't think so?
I don't think so, and I know that a lot of people are, you don't know what the hell you're talking about, Cole. He drives our company. I mean, he's been here 10 years. People love him. Kids love him. There's nobody close that sells the amount of merchandise that John sells. I mean, he is just so good for this brand. And not to mention the charity that John does. I mean, between Make-A-Wish and the Susan G. Komen for the Cure, the Breast Cancer Foundation that we worked heavily with them last year, that was all John's idea. He came up with the pink ropes and the whole 9 yards. So, just for those reasons alone, John needs to stay who he is. And that's who he is at heart. John is that person at heart. I've known John for years. He's one of my closest friends in the business, and that's who he is.
How much has WWE and the locker room and everything changed since when you joined? It was full on like Attitude Era, Stone Cold Rock. All this was going on.
Right?
Is it
completely different?
It is.
It's a business. This is a business now. It is not that it wasn't before, but this is a business. Suits and ties. You've had a lot of our guys in here. Most of them, especially like Miz. Miz is like one of the sharpest dressed guys.
I'm afraid the Miz is going to end up broke because he's spending all his cash on like 4-piece suits for radio appearances.
This is we're a publicly traded company on Wall Street. We're a global entity. We're on in 150 different countries. TV every Monday and Wednesday and Friday night, and the internet and all our social media. We are a conglomerate, and the beauty of our superstars and divas today is that they treat it that way. This is a business for them. They go to work like it's a 9-to-5 job, so to speak, in their suits and ties and their beautiful dresses, and they sell the company for what they need to. And it's a completely different atmosphere than it was 15 years ago.
Do you think is it more fun, less fun, or?
I always have fun.
Yeah.
And just like I'm sure you complain about your job, we all complain about our jobs.
Yeah.
But when the red light goes on and it's showtime, that is so much fun. Like at DC last night on Raw, when that red light goes on, it is the greatest job in the world. And
it's funny. You were talking about Todd Pettengill. You had a relationship with him. He was doing his thing at WWE, and he goes, "Hey, they're looking for somebody new. Why don't I introduce you to the guys?" Well, I'm going to tell you something. I met Michael Cole a while back, and he goes, "Yeah, we're always looking for new people." And I sent him my tape, pictures, shook hands with a bunch of people, and the info that he got back was, "Yeah, look at him. What the fuck are we going to do with someone who looks like that?" He's not an announcer.
That is a true story.
Wait, that's not at all what we're looking for.
That is a true story.
Tell him to not let the door hit him where the good Lord split him.
It might have been the hair, perhaps, that had something to do with it.
But I can't.
How's your wife, by the way?
She's good.
Great. Tell her I said hi.
But I asked you about your wife putting up with wrestling, because, she won't put up with it at all.
We came full circle, didn't we?
Yeah.
She went.
My wife won't put up with it at all.
She went to one Wrestlemania, and
was it the one you performed at?
No, she didn't. Even,
she wasn't interested.
That was the only time she's ever really watched the program. She actually watched it. And, she texted me when it was over with. It wasn't like, "How you doing? Are you okay? Are you sore?" It was like, that was pathetic. That's just a text my wife sent me after WrestleMania. But no, she supports the product. Obviously, she's not a fan, but she supports what I do.
Well, she also probably doesn't have to deal with supporting a shelf full of pro wrestling action figures like some people's wives do.
I've got my own room that she said, "That's yours," and that's where I've got all my memorabilia. And but no, she appreciates the company for what it is. And my wife had a kidney transplant a decade ago, and when that happened, this company was so wonderful. And,
really?
Just unbelievably
fabulous. You never hear those stories.
From the top down, from Mr. McMahon down through his entire family. And because of that, she has always respected and loved everybody that's been involved in this company. It's just not her cup of tea.
Well, on that note, we got to let Ron Fez take over. Yep. WrestleMania is Sunday. MetLife Stadium. People can't get tickets anymore, can they?
No, you keep checking in because they may release some stuff.
But it's on pay-per-view, so check it out. And, there's wrestling stuff going on all weekend. Michael Cole, thank you for being here.
Sam, thanks for having me.
All right, Ron and Fez are up next. Goodbye.